Hello, friends. Welcome. Salo Mason Happy Home YouTube channel. January 3rd, 2025. 3 days in. You know, on New Year's Day, Douglas and I started a new tradition where, we're not going to go out and party on New Year's Eve, but we're going to go out and we're going to enjoy ourselves and splurge a little bit on New Year's Day. So we went to Red Lobster for brunch. Woo! So good. Oh, God, please don't let that one go bankrupt. But we ended up at a place called Pet Expo. Now, Pet Expo is this ginormous one-stop shop for all of your creature needs. Not just your house pets, but wildlife. They have things for squirrels, they have things for birds, they have, all kinds of crazy stuff, things you wouldn't even imagine. Pricing, some things are a little pricey, but you're getting really good quality. They have this really neat open concept way of keeping the creatures that they sell. They do adopt out creatures. They have a whole aquatic section with all kinds of stuff. They even have axolotls, and those are like impossible to find. You have to go to breeders. Most pet stores won't keep them. They do not have puppies or kittens, but they do have reptiles, small mammals such as rabbits and guinea pigs. They have birds. They even had baby quail. I mean, they get the most bizarre shit there. But man, I love it. And if you need a de-stressor, go to Mankato to Pet Expo, because they keep this open concept enclosures for their small animals, and they keep them it's kind of like, just a little lower than chest high, so that you can just walk up and you can reach in and pet, and they encourage you to pet the creatures and interact. Well, we were there on New Year's Day, and I walked past this little bunny. Well, he wasn't too little. I mean, he was probably I don't know, 3-4 times the size of my Roxy, who's a guinea pig, and she's extra large. And he was this beautiful, beautiful mixed brown. He was a lop-eared rabbit, so they have the big floppy ears. He was 3 months old, male, but he was rolled up into a ball, and he was in the corner, and he wasn't responding or looking around. And I felt terrible for him. And the employee came up and had said that he was kind of, dumped there by a breeder who didn't want him. So he was there and up for adoption, and he was alone in his unit. And I felt terrible for him, and I was talking to him, and I said, what about the flowers? What about the flowers? Where's some flowers? You want some flowers? Because hay, which is their primary food source, which is what guinea pigs have as well, they have sometimes the fluffy flower parts of the hay. You'll get a few of those in the box or whatever. So I dug around in his hay and I found the flowers, and I went to give it to him, and I tickled his nose with it, and he grabbed it and he munched it down and it was so nice to see him react to that, and I felt better. And Douglas and I had reservations for Red Lobster, so we needed to go. And I said, well, Douglas, we need to go. But, we get caught up in that, talking to the birds and shrieking when the snakes jump out at you in their enclosures. I mean, it can be kind of scary around there. But, it's wonderful. So I turned around, and Douglas was walking into the aquatic department because we hadn't seen the fish yet. So as we were walking out, I turned around and went back into the aquatic department. And as we were leaving the aquatic department, I was walking. You have to walk back toward the small mammals in order to go around to get to the door. And there was this little bunny on his hind legs, hopping and looking at me, looking directly at me. There was nobody else there but me. And he was going like this with his paws, and he's looking up and he's hopping. I couldn't stand it. So I went over and I picked him up and I held him for quite a while. I wanted to take him home. The only thing stopping me was we had reservations at Lobster, and, you gotta get your lobster, right? Lobsters, by the way, are cruel assholes. They're bottom feeders. They eat all the poo and junk and garbage at the bottom of the ocean, and they eat their delicacy, their fun thing to do is to eat the tips off of starfish legs, and then leaving the starfish to bleed to death, suffer, and die in the salt water. They only eat the tips, so they're assholes. They get what they get. But I turned and walked away from this little bunny, even though a woman came up and said, he is in love with you. He's yours. You got to take him home. I told this customer very firmly but politely to walk away. Asked him how late they were going to be open so I could think about it. And of course, it came down to room, because, they need a lot of room like the pigs do. You can't put them with guinea pigs because they're very large. They're bullies. They'll try to breed with them. So we'd have to buy all this stuff for him, and it would just be another pet, and I just don't want another pet. And I was just gutted the whole rest of the day. And that night I could barely sleep, and the next day I was still thinking about him. I named him Ruggles. Just seemed to fit for some reason. I don't need or want a rabbit. I do want a rabbit. I don't need a rabbit. My parents had a rabbit. He ran free through the house, and he was litter box trained. I mean, they're different than the pigs. But I can barely keep on. I'm getting up at 4:30 in the morning to take care of the animals that I got. My dog is very elderly. She's very special needs, high maintenance. I have 3 guinea pigs. I have 4 axolotls. I got a lot to do. And that doesn't even include Douglas. And the birds. You know how much money and time I've been spending on bird stuff and squirrel stuff? That's what I get for being a photographer, and discovered that, hey, I like photographing birds, and birds like getting photographed over here, and they love us. That's the whole reason we ended up at the Pet Expo, because I needed some stuff, some bird supplies. And I thought about it this morning. Why? Why am I obsessed about this silly little baby rabbit? Why do I want a rabbit? Well, my dad was an animal hoarder. We had dogs, litters of dogs everywhere. 2, 3, 4 dogs at a time. We had cats, birds, fish. We even had a monkey. My dad was impulsive when it came to animals. He loved animals, but he was a hoarder, and he was impulsive. Sorry, people, but somebody just drove by my house, stopped in front of the house, and drove by real slow. Off topic, but anyway, that's why I wanted the rabbit. I was born and raised in a house of animal hoarders. My sister Marilee had 13 cats before she passed away, and 3 or 4 dogs. My sister Brenda, 2, 3 cats at a time. I've had 3 dogs at a time. Lizards, turtles, you name it. My dad got me my first aquarium when I was 10. I mean, it's just part of our family. It's just who we are. Can I avoid it? Can I stop it? Maybe, but will I be better for it? No. Will my pocketbook be? Yeah. So, Tuesday. Today's Friday. Tuesday. I was walking the dog 4:30 in the morning like I usually do, and when I came back into the house, I got the hair on the back of my neck stood up, and I felt like I was being watched through my front door. I didn't think anything of it, except that it creeped me out. And then yesterday morning, I get a whole bunch of alerts from my backyard camera saying that there was a person wandering around. Now, it was 6:30 in the morning. It was dark. Douglas was long gone. to go pick up the little baby children to take them to the daycare. And I was here doing my thing, getting ready for my work day. And I thought, well, that's kind of odd. And I felt compelled to go outside. So I took my phone, I took my flashlight, and I went out the back garage door. And I'm standing there and I'm going, well, I don't see anything. Why did the camera go off? Because there was no people in the camera. I heard footsteps approaching me from the right of the door. And I went to flash my light up toward it and I couldn't see, but it was a human walking over the icy, crispy snow. I know what that sounds like because I'm out there on the crispy snow all the time. I know what that sounds like. And I was talking to myself aloud, and when I said, I hear you, I hear something, I hear you, it stopped. I backed into the house, locked the door, barricaded the door, came in the house, locked the other doors, ran downstairs, and was sufficiently rattled for most of the day. And then later on in the afternoon, I get my phone's blowing up with these calls from area codes that I didn't even know existed. Finally, I had enough, so I pick up the phone, and they are asking for somebody that used to live with us. That's a very, very, very bad person. Very dark, evil time that we can't even talk about. It's so scary. And they wanted to talk to him, and I said, there's no such person here. And I thought, whoa, this is really weird. So I wanted to talk to you about growing up in a house of animal hoarders. And now I just see this car go by and now I'm freaking out. Now I got to close my curtains. But anyway, if you get this impulse to purchase pets, to adopt pets, and you've already got a house full of pets, don't do it. Walk away and think about it for 24 hours. Find out why you feel you need that pet. And see if you can afford it first. If you've got the space for them, the time, all that shit. And until next time, do good, be good. I feel really weird right now. I think I'm going to get my axe and walk around the house. But until next time, stay safe and put the rabbit down.